What if everything you know about daily life suddenly collapsed? No internet, no power, no safe streets? It can happen here. America has never been invincible. The grid goes down, supply chains collapse, and the things we take for granted, food, water, security, disappear overnight. The threats are real. Today, we're breaking down 5 attacks that could cripple this great nation. Stick around to learn how you, as a prepper, can stay ahead of these threats and protect your family. First up, a massive cyber attack on America's critical infrastructure. We're talking about the systems that keep this country running, the power grid, the water supply, communication networks, financial institutions, all of it. Imagine waking up one morning and the lights don't come on. Your phone's dead, there's no internet, and the news is saying it's a nationwide outage. No one knows how long it will last. No power means no refrigeration, no gas pumps, no ATMs. Hospitals start scrambling, businesses shut down. Within days, you've got chaos in the streets. Our enemies know how vulnerable we are. We're so reliant on technology, so plugged into the grid, that a well-coordinated cyber attack could bring America to its knees. The government will be overwhelmed trying to restore order. This could cripple the economy for years. Preppers need to be ready. Backup power generators, solar panels, wind turbines, anything to keep the lights on when the grid goes down. You need a way to purify water, communication, ham radios, CB radios, ways to connect with your loved ones and get information when all other lines are down. Alright, next up is some seriously scary stuff. An EMP attack. This is not just science fiction, it's a real threat that could have devastating consequences. EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse. It's a burst of electromagnetic radiation that can disrupt or damage electronic equipment and power grids. Think of it like a massive surge of energy that fries every electronic circuit it hits. This surge can be so powerful that it can cause permanent damage to electronic devices. The most likely scenario is a high-altitude nuclear detonation. When a nuclear bomb is detonated high above the Earth's atmosphere, it releases a burst of gamma rays that interact with the atmosphere to produce an EMP. A single nuke detonated high above the Earth's atmosphere could send out an EMP that would blanket the entire continental United States. This means that the impact would be widespread, affecting millions of people. Imagine this. You're driving down the road and suddenly every single electronic device just dies. Your car stops dead in its tracks and you have no way to communicate or call for help. Your car stops dead, the radio goes silent, and when you look up you see planes falling out of the sky. The chaos would be unimaginable with no way to control or manage the situation. This EMP wouldn't just fry your car battery, it would take out power grids, communication systems, hospitals. Anything with a circuit board is toast. The entire infrastructure we rely on would be crippled. We're talking about being catapulted back to the Stone Age. No electricity means no modern conveniences, no internet, no running water, and no way to keep food from spoiling. The technology to create an EMP is out there, and there are people who would use it against us. Governments and rogue actors alike have the capability to launch such an attack. The key here is protection. Being prepared can make all the difference in surviving an EMP attack. You need to shield your vital electronics from that EMP surge. This means taking proactive steps to protect your devices before an attack happens. The best way to do that is with something called a Faraday cage. This simple yet effective device can protect your electronics from the devastating effects of an EMP. A Faraday cage is basically a conductive enclosure that blocks out electromagnetic fields. It can be made from various materials and can be customized to fit your needs. You can buy them pre-made or you can build your own using simple materials like metal trash cans and copper mesh. There are plenty of DIY tutorials available to guide you through the process. Protect your essential electronics, things like radios, flashlights, medical devices. These items can be crucial in an emergency situation, providing you with communication, light, and medical support when you need it most. Chapter 3, Bioterrorism, the Invisible Enemy. Let's talk about bioterrorism. Imagine a deliberate attack using a weaponized virus or bacteria. We're talking about something highly contagious, highly lethal, something that could spread like wildfire through a population. The worst part is you wouldn't even see it coming. No bombs, no explosions, just a silent, invisible enemy. Think about how quickly a virus can spread in our interconnected world. One person gets infected, they travel, and suddenly you have outbreaks on multiple continents. The government talks a big game about being prepared for a bioterrorist attack, but are they really? Hospitals would be overwhelmed, healthcare systems would collapse, and you'd have widespread panic in the streets. So, what can you do to prepare? First off, you need to have a plan. This means having a designated safe space, whether it's your home or a bug-out location, where you can isolate yourself and your family. You're also going to need a stockpile of essential supplies. Masks, gloves, hazmat suits. These things might sound extreme, but in a worst-case scenario, they could be your best line of defense. Chapter 4, Economic Collapse, when money doesn't matter. Let's talk about something that keeps a lot of people up at night, economic collapse. It's a scenario that seems like a distant nightmare, but it's more real than we might want to believe. We've seen it happen before, in different parts of the world, and it can happen again. Countries like Venezuela and Greece have faced severe economic crises, leading to widespread suffering and instability. I'm talking about a complete and utter meltdown of the financial system. Imagine the stock market crashing to unprecedented lows, financial graphs plummeting beyond recovery. Imagine a world where your money is worthless. Those dollar bills you once valued so highly are now just pieces of paper burning away with no value. Your bank account is frozen, your credit cards are declined, and the stock market is crashed and burned. The financial infrastructure you relied on is no longer functional. Suddenly all those pieces of paper you've been working for your whole life mean absolutely nothing. What happens then? Chaos. People start to realize that their wealth is just an illusion. People panic, they rush to withdraw their savings, but the banks are empty. The once bustling bank lobbies are now deserted with no money to give out. Stores are looted, supply chains are disrupted, and basic necessities, food, water, medicine, become incredibly scarce. The shelves that were once full are now empty. In a true economic collapse, none of that matters. The institutions we depend on, like banks and government offices, are abandoned and closed. The banks could fail, the government could collapse, and your precious gold and silver could be useless if you can't trade it for food or water. Even tangible assets lose their value if they can't be exchanged for essentials. So, what can you do? Diversify your assets. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have some cash on hand, invest in precious metals, and consider alternative currencies like cryptocurrencies. Diversification can provide a safety net in uncertain times. More importantly, develop practical skills. In a world where money doesn't matter, your skills become your most valuable asset. Learn how to grow your own food, purify your own water, and barter for goods and services. These skills can help you survive and thrive when traditional economic systems fail. In the end, it's not just about surviving, but about building a resilient community that can withstand the toughest times. Chapter 5, Nuclear Strike, the Unthinkable Threat. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, a nuclear attack. It's a topic that often feels like a distant nightmare, but the reality is, it's a threat that looms over us every day. Now, I'm not talking about full-blown global thermonuclear war. That scenario, while terrifying, is not the only form of nuclear threat we face. While that's always a possibility, I think it's more likely that we'd see a limited nuclear exchange. This could involve a few nuclear weapons being used in a specific region, causing localized but still catastrophic damage. A rogue state, a terrorist organization, even a single actor with enough resources could get their hands on a nuclear weapon. The proliferation of nuclear technology has made this a very real danger. And all it takes is one of those weapons detonated over a major city to cause widespread chaos and devastation. The immediate impact would be horrifying, but the long-term effects could be even worse. We're talking about millions of lives lost instantly, countless more suffering from radiation sickness, and entire cities reduced to radioactive rubble. The infrastructure would be obliterated, and the environment would be contaminated for decades. It would be a humanitarian crisis unlike anything we've ever seen. The scale of the disaster would overwhelm any existing emergency response systems, leading to further chaos and suffering. We need to be prepared for the possibility of a nuclear attack. This means having a plan in place, knowing what to do in the event of an attack, and being ready to act quickly. Know where the potential targets are. Understanding the geography of potential nuclear strikes can help you make informed decisions about your safety. Major cities, military bases, government facilities, these are all prime targets in a nuclear strike. If you live near one of these areas, you need to be especially vigilant. If you live near one of these targets, you need to have an evacuation plan. This includes knowing the fastest routes out of the city, having a go bag ready, and staying informed about the latest news and alerts. You're also going to need to protect yourself from radiation. This involves more than just staying indoors. You need to have the right equipment and knowledge. This means having a designated fallout shelter, stocking up on potassium iodide pills, and knowing how to decontaminate yourself and your family. Being prepared can make the difference between life and death in such a scenario. So there you have it, 5 attacks that could cripple America: cyber attacks, EMPs, bioterrorism, economic collapse, nuclear strikes. Any one of these events could change life as we know it. The real question is, are you prepared? Are you willing to be caught off guard when disaster strikes, or are you going to take responsibility for your own safety and the safety of your family? Take action today. Stock up on essentials, secure your home, and make sure your family knows what to do. If you found this video useful, make sure to subscribe and share it with others who want to stay informed. Remember, stay alert, stay prepared, and never stop learning.